Hey crew, it is Saturday, August 20th, I think, and I saw your video with the new Vegas Pro editing, a beautiful video of the lake in the morning. But I'm actually going to make this video about my dreads. You emailed me that comment that was sent by a gentleman named Matt. Hi Matt. Asking if I do an update on the dreads and kind of what it's been like. So I actually put up the video called D-Day Doing the Dread. That was a time lapse of Bryn dreading my hair in May 3.5 years ago. Well, it'll be 3.5 years in October. And so obviously it was much shorter then, and it's grown out. So Matt asked for some details about the dreads, and so I'm going to talk a little bit about that. First of all, I really like them, as you know. My wife Sarah doesn't like them at all and tells me to cut them off whenever she possibly can. They're obviously pretty long now. I usually wear them back because I have to look respectable at work, kind of. And Matt, you asked about people's reactions to the dreads, and the interesting thing that I found is that, and my wife actually thinks this is kind of cool too, is we go for walks all the time and we walk around and there are these young hoodlums, my kids' age actually, kids who are skaters and everything, and they always come up and talk to me because of the dreads, and they ask me about them, and they say they look really good. I have a lot of people tell me that they think my dreads look really neat, and you can see that for the most part I try to keep them fairly neat. I put a few little weird things in them occasionally. I've got like a couple coils of wire that I put in, and actually a friend of mine gave me something from a skateboard. I don't know what this thing is, if it's a bearing or something, and I put it around this dread in the back here, the last one, kind of right at the base of my top of my neck, and I just leave it on there at the top. And I've gone through airport security and they don't set it off, which is nice. But so for maintaining them, what I've done is I use a dread hook from dreadhead.com. Just looks like a little latch hook thing. And so if there's loose hair, I don't know if I've got any right now. When I'm on the computer looking at YouTube or watching a soccer game or something, I'll find some loose hair and I just ball them up, and then you just stick this, I don't know if you can see, but basically I stick this into the dread kind of like this and pop it out, and then hook the loose hairs and pull them back through the dread, and it keeps the dreads looking nice and with less loose hairs floating around. The other thing I do, actually, you know, when I rub them, they say you should rub the base. So as the hair grows out, you got to keep it dreading, and you just rub it in a, I don't know, if you're looking down from the top, this is a clockwise direction. If you're looking up from the bottom, it's counterclockwise. That's the direction I rub it. And the other thing I do is I've gone through, in the 3.5 years, these boxes of rubber bands. And actually I read this to Karoo because I just bought a new box of these, and these little tiny black rubber bands that I put around the base after I rub the hair to keep it dreaded as it grows out. And they work really well, but they degrade over time and then break. So anyway, it starts out by saying, "It's a pleasure to be a woman. You have so many different sides to yourself to express and enjoy." Anyway, so it's a pleasure to be a woman having these in my hair, just so you know. The other thing about, so that's basically how I keep them looking neat. Occasionally I get, and I'm not sure why this happens, but you know, I'll be rubbing them and I'll break a bunch of the hairs, or maybe some of the hairs fall out. See, this is what I do all the time, and it drives my wife crazy. So there's a dread back here, and I'm rubbing it because I can feel it's kind of loose, and then I just pull the rubber band down over the end. Occasionally the dread may be breaking, and see if I can find one. I know I've got them floating around. I don't know where they are specifically. And I'll fold the dread over on itself and put a little super glue on it to fix areas where they've been breaking. And so actually this one right here, you can kind of see right here, this dread coming right off up here, and when this was down before it grew out, it was, oh, you can't see, I'm looking in the mirror, it was a little bit, can you see right there? It was a little bit thin, like some of the hairs had broken. So I folded it back on itself and super glued it, which is kind of cheating probably, but you know, I don't know that there's cheating when it comes to hair. So I do that, but I've only done that a few times. I've only had to do that a few times. What else? If the ends, some of the ends haven't dreaded up really well, haven't set, and so I clipped them off. And you can see that the dreads are different lengths. Like I've got some that are, can you see this? That's not actually a particularly long one. There's one in the back here that I actually use to tie up all the rest of them a lot of the time, and it's got a it's got this on the end of it. It's got a little wire on the end of it, and so often what I'll do, since I'm wearing them up, and I go in the mornings and work out before work, and if I forget a hair thing, I'll just take this and wrap it around like so, and then I just loop it through. Is that it? No, that's not it. Where is it? There it is. I just loop it through, and then pull it tight, and it actually pulls out, so it's long enough where, you know, I can pull it out like that, and then it just holds the rest of the hair back. I gotta, you know, kind of get everything going, but that works pretty well for holding up the hair. The other thing I've been doing lately with it is I'll tie it into two loops. So I'll take the top part of it and I'll grab a dread out of the top, just for fun, like something like this, and just wrap that around and then push it up through, and hold the top part. It's not very neat because I'm doing it really quickly here, and hold that, and then I'll do another one down below, and that way the hair in the back, it kind of, instead of one big pigtail, it's spread out a little bit more, which I kind of like sometimes. Well, the other thing I do if I'm playing soccer or I'm outside in the sun, and since I'm getting a little thin right here, my hair's getting thin because I'm getting old, I have a tam that I bought, or this is called a, it's not called a tam, it's a, what do they call it? Oh, it says on it, let's see, a buff, and I got this from REI, and usually they're like 20 bucks. This was on sale for like 10 bucks, I think, and it's just a tube of cloth. This one actually is, it's SPF, sun resistant, and it's mosquito repellent. So I actually wear it around my neck sometimes, but I also put it over my head if I'm out in the sun, and it kind of sits right about here, and then it keeps my scalp from getting sunburned. Other reaction things, I know I'm jumping around here, but that's how life is. One of the things I really like about the dreads, and I know I've talked about this before, is that often, you know, I go into a meeting or something at work, and people look at me and think I'm just a, you know, some kid, and I like the fact that, you know, when people realize that I'm the boss, and that and that I have something useful to say, I like breaking that, you know, those stereotypes. You know, it's kind of fun. You know, it can be painful sometimes because people treat you badly, and I've never been treated really badly, but people kind of blow you off because they think you're just kind of a punk kid doing nothing, and they don't realize that I'm like a 43-year-old guy with 4 kids, including 2 in college, and so I love going into meetings or meeting people, and they go, "There's no way you're old enough to have that many kids," and it's just, it really is largely just the hair, because, you know, I've got gray in my beard. I don't really look that young, but people just don't expect, somebody middle-aged like me to have dreads. So they just assume I kind of dress younger and everything. So I don't know. That's a lot of kind of BS about the dreads. I'm not sure what else to say. I really like them. I know that we've had conversations about maybe me cutting them off at some point in the not too distant future. But you know, I'm really digging it right now. And actually, my dog Bryn in particular said they looked goofy when I first got them. You know, they were only, if you go back and look at the earlier videos, you know, they were only about this long when I started out. And she says that actually now they look nice. And I've had like kids who I coach in soccer who go, "You're the only guy I know who can make dreads look respectable," which is kind of a weird thing to say, but I think it has more to do with them knowing me than the fact that my dreads look any better or worse than anyone else's. So yeah, that's a lot of, like I said, that's 10 minutes of crap about my dreads, and I guess that's all I got to say. So Matt, I hope this was not too boring for you. Karu, I don't care if it's boring for you. And I feel a little awkward saying this considering the fact that my father-in-law is not expected to live through the night. But in Pendleton, I'm still dead. See you later.